Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. First of all, the person who's joining us by iPhone, did you want to identify yourself for the minutes?
That's not.
All right, then we'll move on to the minutes. We have the minutes from March 21st.
Did you have anything?
I did not.
I do.
Okay,
On line. This here. On line 95.
mhm.
Reintroducing the current day rates, and then down to line 97, changing that back to 20 for evening rates, 14 non-resident rates, 100 for individual, 250 for family. And the reason for that is if you go to the next page on the motion is to double the rates. And it sounded like we were doubling those that were already doubled. Do you see that? Because the current rates for non-resident are 20, 14, 100, and 250. So the motion was to double the non-resident rates. This has it already doubled in here, so it looks like we're doubling the double rates. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do, but
So non-resident season pass is 100, is that what you're saying? And 250?
The non-resident full day rate is 20. The evening rate is
it
14.
was 20 this past year.
Correct.
Right, so those numbers should be changed.
Or the wording should be different.
Or the wording should be different, either way. Oh,
Let's-
But you have to go back to the motion that was made by Selectman Rice to double the non-resident. So right now is,
however, what we agreed upon was 40, 30, 200, 500, and the current evening rate was 14, so it's not even doubling them. It's that one's, it doubled, it should be 28. But we agreed on 30 at the meeting. So it just needs to, something needs to be fixed there.
what are the current
Kim?
season passes?
Say that again,
Current season passes 100 and 250
for non-resident, yes,
for
sir.
non-resident.
Yes, sir.
Can we? It's not clear to me in reading this then what the current rates are or were. Because the season's over, so there are no current rates. You can't go skiing anymore. You can't buy season passes anymore.
They were
So-
current when this meeting was held.
So can we say the joint board discussed a proposal with day rates for residents of $5, and then in parentheses, same as current rate. After school rates and evenings at $3.
So wait a minute, what if we put the boards discussed keeping the resident
Okay,
rates
yeah.
at $5, $3, 30, and 75. And doubling the non-resident rates to 40, 30, 200, 500.
All right, joint board discussed keeping the day rates for residents at $5, after school rates and evenings, 3 to 5 and 7 to 9 PM at $3.
Season pass for residents
At $30, individual, $75 family.
and raising the non-resident,
Okay, then period.
okay,
After
period.
family. Also to, and then furthermore to raise, is that right? Furthermore to raise
Furthermore, to raise, okay,
non-resident full day rate to,
40,
what is it now?
20.
Okay, from 20 to 40.
So from 20 to 40, okay, evening rates from 14 to 30. Season passes from 100 to 200. And and family season pass from 200 to 500. Which keeps everything else the same.
Okay,
Thank you for that.
That doesn't correspond to the motion of
it does not.
some numbers that are screwed.
Yeah, they're not
They're
exactly
not
double.
exactly double.
Nope, they're not.
Some are more than double.
Well,
The
No, one is less than doubled.
And the 200 to 500
Is more than doubled.
No. 100 to 200, 250 to 500. Those are
Oh,
double.
250.
Well, you just
You
said
said
Oh,
200.
I'm sorry.
You
I
said
apologize. It was 200. I apologize.
Okay.
Well, I
Wait.
said 100 to 200
Yeah,
and 250 to 500.
okay.
Oh, so what's
250.
250, not
Yes, sir.
200?
Okay,
Yes,
we
sir.
had, you had said 200.
I apologize.
Okay.
That's all right, we forgive it.
My mistake.
All right,
I made one. So fun.
all right. I think that makes it clearer what the rates were, and what the rates are going to be.
Thank you for that. Poor Jane's gonna have to figure that one
Jane's
out.
gonna have
So,
to listen to that one a couple times.
yeah,
Well, do you have written down how she's gonna change it?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
I do too.
sort of. I'll take your notes as well.
All right.
so.
Is
And
there any
then-
other changes?
All, yes.
Oh, go ahead.
On the last page, when we came out of non-public, and I have this in my email that I sent to her. We came out of non-public at 6:56 PM, and OJ motioned to accept and sign the amended settlement agreement with CRVI. Tammy seconded. There was no discussion. All were in favor. That vote needs to be on here
Okay,
as well. So I made a note of that.
okay.
And if Jane has any questions or anything, she can give me a call or I'll pop in to help with that. So we're not gonna sign these tonight, but I will make a motion to accept these minutes from the 21st as amended.
Second motion.
All those in favor? Aye.
And I'll take your notes and put them here with hers as well. And then we have non-public meeting minutes from the 21st, and I'll make a motion to accept those as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Then we have meeting minutes from March 31 at 9 AM, the Zoom meeting we had. And I'll make a motion to accept those minutes as presented.
All those in favor?
Aye. And that's the draft, these will be. And then she had one more set that she will get to us next week.
And that's the short-term rental
Correct.
meeting?
Yeah. You know, the other thing I was wondering with the 20 meeting minutes of the 21st is that we have like Woodstock's signature after our whole meeting. Should there be two separate sets of minutes, or are we comfortable with doing it that way?
Oh. Can I see my minutes back?
Yeah. I just thought of that. I mean, should they be two separate sets of minutes? Look at the last page.
Yeah, no, because we made a motion to adjourn the joint Board of
Yeah.
Selectmen's meeting and then to call to order the Lincoln
Right.
Board of Selectmen's meeting.
Should they be two separate sets? So that the Woodstock selectmen only have to sign that portion that they were attended and not after all our stuff?
I don't think it matters. I mean, would it make it maybe cleaner? Yes, probably, but I think legally it's okay the way it
Right.
is. Yeah.
Or afterwards says Lincoln Board of Selectmen, right, for joint meeting and Lincoln meeting, and after the Woodstock, just say for joint meeting only.
Yeah.
I mean, if you
I
want,
don't think they're gonna
It's pretty
carry the
clear
way. I'm
who's
just
signing.
curious what your opinion would be,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, you're right, either
I
way, it
wouldn't make
doesn't
a deal
matter.
out of
Yeah.
that. There's that one.
No,
All right. Move on to the town manager's report.
Sure. So just, obviously, this is a couple weeks back, so just a couple update things and then maybe some cleanup stuff from when I wasn't here last week. So I've been reached out to by the Pemmy River Local Advisory Committee. They're looking for representatives from Lincoln to be on the PERMAC committee. It essentially, they review local permits for activities on the Pemmy Drawasset. They also review projects. They give guidance on, you know, what is best practices on the river, and every town's allowed to have 3 representatives at these meetings. We are the furthest town north. They're held in Plymouth at the Pease Public Library. I think I put in there last day of the month at 6:30. They are available via Zoom, and they're wondering if Lincoln would like to participate.
The last day of every month?
Last Tuesday
Oh,
of the
sorry.
month.
Be here the last Tuesday of this month.
And they meet every month,
They meet every month.
and we can have
You
3.
can have 3. So essentially, all 3 of you could be a representative, and you take turns going to the meetings.
Is there, I'm just wondering if there's anyone who
I'll nominate OJ.
is,
Second.
is interested in representing the town.
And
on
it
that.
doesn't necessarily have to be a Board of Selectmen. It could be, in Campton, we had a couple of the members of the Conservation Commission as the representative. So it doesn't necessarily need to be one of you 3, but just a local, of some sort of local affiliation.
I can't this month, but next month I will zoom in and just, you know.
Just
see.
the waters.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if this is gonna be something that takes up a ton of time, then I can't do it. But if this is, you know, zooming into one meeting a month and sharing an opinion, you know, or answering a question or something like that. I'm out of town at the end of this month.
I like the idea of if all 3 of us join
Mhm.
and then
Rotation.
just try to make sure one of us gets on each month.
I do too. I like that idea. Who wants to do it this month?
I'm not gonna be here either.
What's the date?
It's,
46th.
yeah.
I will not be available for that.
Are you gone on the 25th?
I am.
So am I. So we're not having a meeting that night.
I could also, you know, worst case,
Meeting would be the 26th.
zoom in too. I mean.
It would
I'm
be
in
on the
from that.
26th, yeah.
Put me down.
And you can either go to Plymouth or you can
I'll
zoom
go
in.
Zoom start.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's a good idea. All right, so Jack's got this month.
Okay.
Thank you. And then next month we'll look at our schedules and see,
Take next month, or you and
whatever,
Okay.
either way, yeah.
whatever. Okay,
Great.
Thank
all
you.
right.
I think they would like some, you know, northern input.
Right.
So we'll do all 3. I think there's a specific form we have to fill out, but I'll tell them all 3 are interested and we'll kind of rotate.
Perfect. Thank you.
Alright.
It's up here is gonna end up down there, so it makes sense.
Not for us.
Right.
It's just a joke.
All right, great. So I'll get that ball rolling and see what paperwork we need to fill out for that.
Great.
Second item is OJ and I met a couple weeks ago now, and we went over additional funding options for West Street. I did get a chance to sit down with Nate and go over his capital reserve accounts, because a lot of the funding we were looking for were coming out of individual line items in his accounts, and he was comfortable with what we proposed, and we took some figures. Essentially, we tried to take what was being appropriated this year essentially and not really dig into his reserves. We took the unallocated portions and then what we were appropriating this year, or a portion of what we were going to appropriate this year. And he says he's comfortable with
Good.
that and those figures.
And does that cover the deficiencies?
That would cover everything. So we need about 486 to cover everything. That's what we're over.
And how does it leave us for what we're gonna need for the water tank?
So we're taking less from the water and sewer tanks now, because we're taking more from the capital reserve.
Okay,
So rather than, you had previously earmarked 85,000 out of both the water and the
sewer
sewer.
tap fees.
And then when we first started kind of investigating what was going on with West Street, we said maybe we'll add another 150
Gotcha.
from
yeah.
each. We're not gonna do that anymore. In
Okay.
2021, when we had our audit, or we just got audited a couple weeks ago for the 2021
Sure.
year, we put 152 from water and sewer tap fees, so 72 or 73 and change from
Okay,
both of
yeah.
them, and that's all we're anticipating taking out of each
Oh,
one of
good,
those.
okay.
So that's saving those accounts pretty much intact from, you know,
With water.
otherwise what was previous earmarked from when Butch was here.
Excellent.
Yeah, so it would be 263 would come from capital reserves, 153, we'll call it for easy math, is coming from the water and sewer tap fees, 70 from highway block grant, and that covers everything.
Fantastic. Thank you for that.
Because I think the goal was we wanted to keep as much of the water tap fees as we can to help with this water storage.
With the tank.
the tank.
yeah.
With the tank and eventually up on Route 3 and,
Right,
Right.
for future expansion, not
Expansion.
necessarily for, you know,
yeah, because this really was a maintenance, project as opposed to an expansion project.
Right.
Right. But no, Nate was comfortable with those figures and we're
Okay.
getting around them, so.
Good.
All right.
Thank you for doing this.
No worries. I'll give this to Jonna too, so she kind of knows where money will be going in and coming out of.
Right. We don't need to make any motions or anything like that because we will approve all of these capital reserve spending things.
Through
when
each
Jonna submits
disperse, yeah,
this.
yeah.
Um,
This is more so we just know where
Yeah.
we need to take the money from.
Yeah. And this is public information if people want to see exactly what line items we're looking at. Make this available.
Sure,
Thank you.
no problem. Also on the report, just a building permit code enforcement update. I felt like I hadn't done that in probably a couple weeks. So when I drafted this, we had about 18 permits in-house. As you can tell, most of them are 8 out of the 18. We are waiting for the applicant or their engineer or their architect. We're waiting for their response to comments. So they're either redesigning things or, you know, reevaluating things. So I think that's a good change from them waiting on us for us to be waiting on them. 3 issues were last week. 1 new permit is just awaiting final review, and then 2 in the queue for KV Partners, and we got 3 new permits in-house that week. So there, we get about, I would say, at least 2 a week come in the door. So it's as much as we can get them off the plate, we still hover right around that. We've been hovering around that 18 now for,
Yeah, but that's good. I mean, that's,
Yeah,
there's gotta
it's
be a flow,
manageable.
there's gotta be a
Yeah.
flow to it,
Right.
because you don't do it all in one day.
No.
So as they come in,
right,
if they go,
right. And we got a
Go
good
now.
process now, is they come in, we created a checklist, so we have everything that we can look at the packet right there and say, okay, does this packet have this, this, and this? And if it doesn't, Lisa then can immediately address it with them, either right there at the door or send an
Yeah.
email. And then the next step is it goes to Ryan and he looks at the bedroom and bathroom counts and the fee sheets and the fee costs. And so we're trying to get as much administratively done when the permit hits our hands. So we're not doing it on the back end as we're waiting for the engineering plans and we're waiting for the race comments and whatnot. We're trying to get all that kind of in-house cleanup stuff done right at the get-go. So it alleviates the frustration of someone saying, I've been waiting 3 months and now you're telling me you need another $1,200,
Right,
you know,
yeah.
type thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's moving. I know Ron can chime in if he wants to. I think we're moving in the right direction. We're always gonna have a, you know, 2 dozen on our plate, but
There was another one issued today.
there was, yeah,
So that's one more off that list.
so we're moving.
that's good.
We're getting better. You know, our oldest ones are out the door. So now we're working on ones that either came in, you know, November or December or January or February. So, you know, it's not a couple month turnaround, I think is fair.
Thank you.
Good news.
This was an upcoming meeting reminder, but you guys have already attended those meetings. So Forest Service went well last night. We talked about it briefly, but, or not last night, last week, that project is moving forward. I did receive an email from Sam with a draft kind of map of the
Temporary easement?
yeah, temporary easement, essentially
Right
what
away.
he, like, right away, what we would be asking right off the bat, and it's looking to be like 300 feet. A 300-foot easement would allow us to then go in and figure out where the road was exactly gonna be, and then we could later determine the exact, essentially meets and bounds of it.
150 feet from the center line? I mean, was it 150 feet on each side, totaling 300?
Totaling 300, yeah, I mean, if you were gonna cut it down the middle, it'd be 300,
150, okay.
150
Yeah,
on
because I
each
mean,
side.
in the meeting, I think that's what they recommended, just in case we ran into trees, boulders or
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
And essentially, he took it up right from where they had already, he had previously started designing it on the lot lower, right? That was on
The previous sighting.
the
Yeah.
previous sighting. So essentially, he took it from there and just pushed it up onto the lot and was able to give us dimensions and some notes to put on an easement that we're thinking the Forest Service would be okay with. So I was gonna have Nate review it just to make sure it looked like it made sense and then ship it off to Mark for his legal drafting, if the board's okay with that.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I-
Absolutely.
He could have pushed that back on us and said, you want the easement, you draft it.
You
and
draft
then I'll-
it, right?
But if he's offering to draft it,
Let's get
then
into it.
there's not gonna be any, he's obviously not gonna put anything in there that he objects to.
Right.
As opposed to if we drafted it, there might be things.
Right.
So it's the quicker path to getting it done.
Agreed. Okay,
Yeah, excited.
all right, so.
Also with that, they're saying that the biggest slowdown of this might be the surveying, because they can't get up on the land.
I heard that, yes.
Snow and mud, no. He was gonna, number one, check in to see what Horizons has already gotten for surveying data, which I assume they might have
Up to that. point.
something on
Pieces
their
of it,
land.
yeah.
Obviously, once you get over onto the Forest Service land, I'm
They're
not
not
sure
gonna
they
have it,
have
right.
nothing. But I'm just wondering if we can help, if Sam's having trouble getting a surveyor in there.
I think we go down the path as Mark, suggested, that if he can go forward and we pay our share into it, like we're paying, I mean, the whole project's gonna be, a shared experience anyways. If he can get Horizons there faster than we can get an independent surveyor there, I think that's the route we go. And
I
we
do
pay
too,
for it,
okay.
and yes.
As long as we're all on board with that, and I would say that
Absolutely.
however, the,
It's all surveyed, so the sub peak was surveyed right to the Forest Service boundary, because they had to do the alteration and terrain permit and everything.
oh,
So all the topography and the wetlands, everything's already delineated when they went through the site plan in 2005.
So we'll really just be doing the section that's on
We're
the
just doing a
Forest Service's
section where the
land.
tank's going,
Right.
access to the
The
tank
new
site.
spot.
Yeah.
So Horizons having all that, it makes perfect sense if.
Yeah,
they can-
continue on.
Yeah, I think. That's my opinion.
So I will tell him that we would definitely like to take him up on his offer of having Horizons start that process for us.
right, okay. I mean, I would, that's how I would say,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll send him an email tomorrow. Is there anything else that I want to express to him? So we're happy to get this ball rolling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Perfect. And then the short-term rental management program, the board attended that meeting as well. I wasn't there, but I heard it went well as well. We were hoping to have updated cost figures from GovOS as of this morning, but we have yet to receive them. So I think it's hard to really compare them
Until we know, yeah.
until we do know. I will say too that I did get some communication from Granicus this morning, or yes, it was this morning. That we should probably pay attention to the number of properties that they're using, because that's gonna be based on the quote, is gonna have to be, it's correlated on, the quote's correlated on how many properties. So if they're saying we have 500 properties, the quote might be significantly lower than someone who's saying we have 1,000 properties, so we have to
Gotcha.
just,
Gotcha.
you know, when we look at them side by side,
Keep that in
they've
mind.
got to keep that in mind, because they're not gonna be an apples to apples comparison. We also gotta see, you know,
Gotcha.
what different services are being brought on with one, and what, you know, what services are being offered with another, like whether we need to buy a software component, stuff like that,
Gotcha.
so. Like I said, I was hoping to have that for this evening, but I don't, so we'll hopefully have that for next Monday.
Great. Thank you for that.
Non-meeting with Attorney Dennis. He is available anytime after tomorrow.
Is this for the purpose of looking at alternatives for a municipal lawyer?
No, this is for Jason Dennis to give us we're gonna do a brief kind of powwow on the Wood case.
Oh, that's right, too.
Okay.
I'm available Thursday or Friday,
When did
pretty
you,
much all day.
He says the only thing he's not available Monday and Tuesday of this week.
oh.
I could do Thursday or Friday.
I cannot do Friday.
Thursday?
I can do
What
Thursday.
about Wednesday?
I can't
Thursday.
do Wednesday.
No, Thursday I'm in surgery, so.
Oh. So you can't do Wednesday.
Well, I
Do
mean,
you want to do you want to do it before our meeting on Monday?
You're not gonna be here.
Well, I don't know if I really need to be here for that.
I can set up the Zoom if you want to Zoom in.
I could probably do that.
It is let me know what time.
I can do, I can do Wednesday at noon. I can do right at noon, but I have that hour and that's it. As long as I just don't mind watching to eat my lunch, I can do it at noon. Wednesday at noon.
Works for me.
See
Okay,
if that works for Jason.
okay. What's Wednesday? Wednesday's the 6th?
Sixth.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll have lunch. Okay.
Check my schedule. Sorry.
All right. I'll let you know what he says and you let me know.
I
Jack.
will let you know. So
Okay.
I won't tonight, I'll text you.
In regards to the Janine Wood case, she is seeking to amend the complaint again. Jason is contesting it. He's objecting to a third amendment of the complaint. This one would be based on the contract formation and mental impressions of all parties. So Jason is objecting to it, so we should hear from that as well. So we can probably touch base on that with Jason as well.
Okay.
Excellent.
And then the last thing I have under upcoming meeting reminder is the second quarter meeting with Woodstock is scheduled for June 14th at 5 p.m. in Woodstock. And that has been confirmed with
When is-
Woodstock.
Say that again, April? I mean,
June.
June.
June 14 at 5.
Oh, it's my anniversary.
It's a lovely gift for you.
Excellent.
Invite John.
Yeah,
So we're in right now, June 14th.
it'll be, what is this, 2022, 32 years,
How much?
32 years. Holy cow, that's a long
Sure
time.
is.
That's a way long time.
It is. Good for you.
What time, 5 o'clock?
5 o'clock in Woodstock.
Okay.
And then the only other thing I do have, and it's not included on your town manager's report, but I wanted to just touch base. OJ, you sent something, I think it was last week, about the federal grant program for
Yes.
the byways.
Scenic byway grant,
Yes,
yeah.
so I looked into that.
Yeah, okay,
And we can't apply for it. Only a state DOT can. So we can do it in conjunction with a state DOT, but we would need, state DOT would be the applicant. So I don't know if you would like me to reach out to someone at DOT, Jim McMahon or someone, and just get a feeler out there if this is something that they'd be willing to do. The caveat of that is a really quick turnaround. We have to have the application in by May. So if we were to do something, I would need their, their blessing immediately to get that ball rolling.
Would that be Phil Bolio?
Probably Phil's, yes, sorry, yeah.
And they were great at that meeting that we had here about the traffic, because he came with two other guys. I mean, and they were all in favor of working with the town. So I think, I'd be willing to take it and work with Karina on that grant if we,
Fantastic.
decide we want to go that way. I think you could reach out to them and, explain what their responsibilities are, because
See if they have
the two
any
guys that he
other,
had here with him,
know.
one of them sounded like he had written other grants. The gentleman, I forget his name, Jim, I think it was. Not that Jim, the other Jim.
yeah,
So,
if they would be cooperative, I mean, it's a grant, you don't have to pay it back.
Right.
And
And it's gonna, I mean, when you think about the good it's gonna do, I mean, it'll, resolve one of their issues about parking on a state highway.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll give people access to.
well, and it says like right in the write-up, eligible projects include access to recreation.
Right.
It's the
Right.
first sentence.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah, no, that'd be fantastic.
okay,
all right, I'll reach out to Phil and see if they would be interested in partnering with us on something like that. Like I said, it's the turnaround's gonna be kind of the bear to make sure we got all our ducks in a row, but
Right.
if we could do something, I mean, we have already, we have an easement there, so we already have maps of the,
I said, you should bring a map of that easement and walkway, well, it's the parking easement, the trail easement, and the levee easement
is all identified.
is all identified on a map.
Okay.
And in writing, I mean, it's a recorded document, so.
I know I've seen the document and I think I've seen the map, so easement, parking area. Okay, I can look into that.
There was also a new Northern Borders grant that we got some information on. I'm not sure.
I saw that too. The chief sent that to me. My concern is that I don't think Northern Borders likes to give money to the same recipient, a couple of years in a row.
We got a great grant from them.
We had
Yeah.
a wonderful
And we-
grant, right,
And we're looking to delay that
right.
with the Forest Service,
Right.
so I'm fine with not
Not going this route.
going this route.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I think we want to play nice and spread the wealth a little bit and,
Yeah.
we got a big project coming down with that. I did apply and submit for the local equipment grant for
Oh,
the
good.
radios for both the PD and the fire department.
Yeah.
So that was submitted last Friday. And I think they said could be 15 days until we hear back, but I don't envision any big hurdles with that. But we did apply for the full amount for the 3 for the PD and 12 for the fire department. I think the total came to 67. They'll give us 50 of that. And then Ron had 17 in his budget, already budgeted for radios.
Yep.
So,
Good.
yeah.
Instead of getting 4, get 12.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. That's really great.
So hopefully that we'll hear back from that. Like I said, I don't envision any hurdles with that one, so.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, that's really all I have at this time.
Okay. Did you have anything you wanted to bring up?
Yeah, I've got a few things. Number one, I saw unfortunately that we didn't get the broadband grant.
So that's the first, it was the first round of funding, so, the NTIA program is the 26.2 million, the grant that the County Broadband Committee went for. We didn't get that first round of funding. We have been told the reason for that is they only funded last mile projects with that. Which means the home to business connections, the cable to the homes. They recently announced this summer that they are going to put $2 billion into a middle mile program specifically designed for the middle mile like ours. So we're essentially being told we're meeting with the big wigs from NTIA to find out where some of our weak spots were,
Deficiencies.
where the weak spots were in the grant, because they have encouraged us to apply for the middle mile, because it's more reflective of what the money should be spent on. So that should go out in the next few months. So that's kind of where we are now.
Yeah, because the article that I read said they were gonna go forward and, not giving up on getting.
The middle
the
mile, yeah.
middle mile. So-
We've had really great conversations with people in Washington about that, and we're hoping for it. The good news is that the county has approved the committee's request for $4 million to do last mile designs for every single town in Grafton County. So we will get a full design package that will give us every connection, every pole, every license, essentially a packet that we could, if we wanted to, go out and get our own grants and be shovel ready. Or if some communities are using ARPA funds, but we could have a plan in place with cost estimate and pole license and mileage calculations. They're gonna do that for every single community in Grafton County. So the executive council just approved that last Monday. So money's going out.
Other things. Number one, at the town meeting, there was pamphlets passed out that showed some deficiencies downstairs in the fire department. Do we have a plan in the interim to address those issues? I don't want people working in unsafe or, problems. Somebody mentioned mold. If you've got mold, you've got to mitigate, otherwise it's going to be a lawsuit. And if you've got other issues like that, we can do in-house or we can take out of capital repairs to address them. I mean, the chief's sitting here, he knows what has to be done over there. And, again, giving that it's a possibility we do it's a possibility we don't, depending upon, like Timmy said at the meeting about the grants that we could possibly get. But in the interim, we should be doing something that, makes this building safe for our employees.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, even if we don't build a new even if we do build a new building, we're still
still
gonna
gotta
utilize that
remediate.
space, so
Right,
it's still gonna
Somewhat,
remediate.
something, yes.
The joint loss committee met 2 weeks ago. I've got the minutes here somewhere. And discussed it. And the chief and the deputy chief are working on getting quotes for remediation of that. We should talk about at some point too, that quote that it kind of got lost in the shuffle of what's left and whatnot,
Yeah,
that Nate gave you
yes.
on
Air filtration and the
air
HVAC.
quality, yes,
Yeah.
for the air quality, addressing that. So yeah, we've had a couple of those conversations and
So I
It
mean,
is
there's a
being worked
plan
on.
in action. that's
Absolutely.
all.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
somebody mentioned to me, if it took 4 years to build, you can't have people working in unsafe conditions.
agreed, I
Right.
totally agree.
Yeah, we meet again on May 5th, and I think that's the first, we're gonna go through every single building as a
Right, right.
group.
And
we're
that's the
gonna
first, yeah.
Start noting things that need to get fixed immediately.
Can we put that, that quote that you got from I forget the name of them now.
It's like EEI.
Yeah, can we put that on the agenda maybe next week?
Sure.
Awesome. And you can email a copy out to OJ and Jack prior to.
Good.
That meeting, yeah,
Yeah,
please, thank you. I'm glad you said that because I forgot all about that. And we can address that and how we're gonna,
it wasn't small.
no.
That's the filtration
Yeah.
remedy?
They did the complete HVAC.
And
the overhaul,
HVAC,
yeah. Yeah.
It was, at the tune of $500,000. I think it was 400.
It just addressed a bunch of deficiencies that were occurred in the building. And it pointed out where corners were cut that shouldn't have been cut to save, their assumption was to save money when the renovation was done to the building. And therefore caused some major issues with air quality in the building.
I'll send you the quote before the meeting so you can look over it.
Fantastic.
And any mold mitigation issues will be above and beyond that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Those are getting addressed separately, immediately, yes. There's this one real area that keeps, that has moisture issues, and that's, they're getting a quote and on who can come in and fix that immediately. And they don't think, I don't think that's gonna be a huge, and I'll touch base downstairs too.
It'd be nice to have both of them
Okay,
for the same, for a single conversation about both of the issues.
right,
Because I would think that the mold would be a more immediate
Yeah,
need.
yes.
On mold in the evidence room.
yeah.
Yeah,
it's
I know
more in
that
there.
in my former community, we had a similar issue in the evidence room, and we got a quote to install a fan, to go to the
They
outside.
put air purifiers in there, but it's just not.
Still,
cutting
yeah,
it,
so
but yeah.
like they were gonna cut through the cement blocks and put a fan and a filtration system, and I remember it being like 4,500,
Right,
it
right.
wasn't huge.
The only issue with that is that it's in like that corner where you're not getting,
There isn't
you
any-
drill a hole in the, you're getting dirt.
Dirt, yeah.
So there were some issues with how, and then if you go out and up, you're under a window, which they don't allow either, so.
Yeah.
Blow it up.
Yeah, exactly. So there were some issues.
Some
with that,
logistics, yeah.
But, yeah,
But it's not something, but it could be something that could at least solve the problem until the bigger problems are solved.
Yeah, we don't, like I said, we want the safety of our employees is paramount. So that's it. Some of the things from what I was told from the report, talked about rust and things like that, which I think we might be able to do in-house.
Yes.
Give the personnel time if we.
with the rust issue though, if we do, because the rust issue is not causing health problems. It's just a pain in the butt down there right now with some of their storage and stuff. They've had to move up and whatnot. If we do get the new building and they move, then that whole corner would be redesigned anyway. So it doesn't make sense to put money in that right now for something that's a pain in the butt, not a health issue. Unless we don't end up building a building and then stay here. So, that's what they're kind of trying to weigh.
Well,
Things that are just-
preventive maintenance is
right.
what I'm talking about, Tammy. I mean,
It's
you
not
don't want
preventive
beams
maintenance
to
though,
start
Jack.
rusting out and fall.
No,
to
they're
the point
they're
it
metal
becomes structural.
cabinets.
Well, see, I don't know. I haven't taken a look.
They're
I'm
metal
sure.
well, you should. You've been invited to go down several times and take a look. They're metal cabinets, they're not metal beams.
Okay.
And it's more of a pain in the butt with storage and whatnot, because the water comes into Sally Port and then puddles and doesn't drain and that kind of an issue. And it's more of a pain in the butt than it is a health issue with that. So that's what they're weighing on. Health issues and safety concerns is what they want to address now. The pain in the butt stuff, they're gonna wait to see if they have to address it, or if it can be redesigned when they move.
Okay.
I don't know if I said that, but
Anything else?
Yep.
Keep going.
All right. The other issue has to deal with the correspondence that we received from the Woodstock Selectmen about, the possibility of a conflict of interest.
did you get my response to that, my
I did.
email?
I
Okay,
did.
thank you.
And, I think, first of all, when correspondence comes like that, either the full board should have responded and or the town manager after we confer. I mean, your name was mentioned,
Mhm.
but I mean, that's just my opinion.
My response was back to this board.
Okay, well, I thought that the response went to.
No, it went back to this board.
To somehow, obviously, I believe that Woodstock received it.
Nope, they did not.
They did.
and I'll find it right here.
I
too,
thought that they
let you
did,
know.
because somebody indicated to me that they.
No, I originally,
No, I've got a
Thought
copy
they
of it
had,
right here.
but it
I've got a copy of it right here, Tim. So anyway, so what I did, I contacted New Hampshire Municipal Association and spoke with them on 2 different occasions. Same attorney, Jonathan Cowell. He was great. And he said that, in your email, Timmy, he said and this is his direct words, you used the wrong analysis of whether a conflict of interest in legislative body occurred. That's not the term to be used in defining a conflict of interest. What he said, that definitely there was an appearance of a conflict and interest, conflict of interest, and a conflict of interest did occur. This is what he said from an attorney. And it's not.
Let him
wait a minute,
finish.
I know,
Timmy,
I just, NHMA, is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
same people I called.
Yep. And consequently, it's nothing at you personal, because you were doing what you felt is right. I would still make the same motion and, support your motion, but I think you should recuse yourself and let OJ and I vote on this. I sit on another board, and I have 4 attorneys on that board, 2 from Massachusetts, 1 from New York, and 1 from Rhode Island. And in my conversations with them, which is on a regular occurrence, I talked with a woman from Rhode Island, clerk for the Supreme Court down there, and an attorney in Massachusetts. I gave them the scenario without mentioning names. Just, a board I sit on. I said there was a declaration up front that this person is a member of the other board. And they said absolutely it was a conflict of interest. So I've got 3 legal opinions, 1 in writing. Well, he didn't put it in writing, excuse me, but 1 verbally from the state of New Hampshire. Nothing illegal, okay? There's no law that defines that, at least according to Jonathan
Right.
Cowell. But he said it definitely is a conflict of interest. So, again, I'm not saying you're wrong, they're right. I'm just saying what the attorney said. So I would like to revisit that if you're okay with it.
Revisit that as in revote.
Revote, I'll make the motion the same as what Tammy said, that we, waive the rent for the next 3 quarters or whatever it was.
Remainder of the year.
The remainder of the year, and that you just recuse yourself. I think that will satisfy the Woodstock for, selectman town administrator. Also,
Well, I don't think we
Tim-
need to
Timmy-
satisfy Woodstock with anything. We just need to satisfy our own voters, but.
well,
Yeah.
you just don't want somebody saying we did something wrong. And they said, our attorney, the New Hampshire attorney said, look at your own conflict of interest policy. And in the conflict of interest policy in the code of ethics, on page 6, it says, in which they have a material financial interest, which you don't, or where they have an organizational responsibility. And you do, you sit as a board member
I
there,
do,
so there's an
absolutely.
organizational responsibility. So again, it's a minor issue, but rather than cause problems and the
Yep,
3 of
makes
us.
sense to clean it up.
All right,
It does. Thank you for that.
well, you're welcome.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
looking into that.
So I'll make
So-
a motion
Okay.
to,
I would say, let's make the exact same motion. I don't have it in front of me.
I do, right here. Glasses. After, okay, to waive the rent for the remainder of the year for the Lincoln Woodstock Community Child Care Center. To waive Lincoln's portion of the rent for the remainder.
so I'll make a motion to waive the rent for the remainder of the year for the Lincoln Woodstock child, Lincoln's portion of the revenue. That's what we added there.
I'll second that motion. We have someone from the public who wants to speak. Do you want to open this up for any public comments?
Absolutely.
Okay. Paul?
Yes, thank you. I was watching the town of Woodstock's selectmen's meeting today, and I noticed that in it, they identified that the amount of money that was going to be waived was per quarter, not per year. Would that change the board's mind, knowing that? I mean, because I think it was like $3,000, somewhere around that. And that was per quarter, so you would end up being like $12,000 totally waiving at the end of the year. And you, at that meeting, when you had the combined meeting, you were talking about maybe $3,000. So the amount of money is greatly different. And I just wanted to point that out and see if the board would care to discuss that, or should it be revisited? Because it is Woodstock did vote to only fund it for the first quarter, and then see how their fundraising went and whatever else could be accomplished in order to offset some of those costs, is what they were saying in their meeting.
Right, and we understood that the first quarter, they've already paid their rent. So the remainder of the year would be 9 months, so it'd be like $9,000. And we were aware of that when we voted. I mean, if there's someone who wants to.
Well, the numbers were different. I thought you said it was only going to cost the town $3,000, and it's actually going to cost the town like $9,000.
9,000.
It was, Paul, the exact number was $9,721.50. That was the 3 months. And Woodstock, as the chairman did say, voted just to waive at this time, the next 3 months, the next quarter's rent. And they were going to ask for some additional documents from the childcare center to see, you know, what they were doing in terms of fundraising, cutting costs, raising fees, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Can I just?
Correct. I
I
think
just
that,
point out one quick fact, it's not costing the town anything. It's, all we're doing is not getting revenue that's going into the general fund that hasn't been appropriated, that we can't spend anyway. So it's not a cost to the town, it's just anticipated revenue that we're not going to accept, that's all.
right, but if you don't have revenue, then it's a cost to the town.
It's
Is-
not an expense.
Am I correct?
Not an expense.
But it is, there is a cost to not
Right.
collecting the revenue.
There's
So
not an expense.
We're
it's
we're
just-
all aware of what it is.
Right,
It's $9,000 that we will not have in the
Right.
general fund.
thank you.
Correct, correct. And like I said, Woodstock was identifying the fact, and I can remember that what Scotty Rice was talking about is that one of the things they used to do was they made all of the people who were participants in the childcare had to participate and volunteer in some sort of fundraising activity. And they were talking about seeing what they could do to be able to do that and only do it a quarter at a time, so you wouldn't have to fund the whole year. And that to me seemed to make a lot of sense, but like I said, it's seeing as how you're revisiting it, I just wanted to bring it up.
I think the difference in what this board voted on versus what Woodstock voted on is that this board took me at my word when I explained that 99% of the financial issues that the childcare center are having right now are due to COVID. We cannot find an employee, again, which I don't believe was an issue prior to COVID. We can't have the numbers we had. We had to close down. We were, kids are being sent home because of COVID exposures, et cetera, so we're not getting the tuition there. This is a COVID issue.
If I could just,
The board has taken steps to address that. However, it's not that when those steps that we're taking to address it is going to take a few months to get there. We need help in the meantime. This is not something that, I don't know, I'm done arguing.
no, I hear you, Tammy, I hear you, but I mean, I'd like to make one comment, and don't take this wrong, please. You just talked about, Jack said his dissertation about you being conflicted during this thing, and here you are now as being part of the board, trying to sell it to the two members of the board that are there. You probably shouldn't be sitting on that board and trying to be selling it. So, I mean, look.
It's very hard for me to keep my mouth shut, but I'm gonna.
Hey, look.
One
if
more
Jack's
minute,
right,
that's all.
If Jack's right, he's right. I don't know. I just think that, I think Woodstock has a more pragmatic way of dealing with it. I'm not saying Lincoln's way is wrong. I'm just saying that I think they're looking at, giving them an opportunity to come up with some solutions and see what other type of funding they might need after that. And I think Lincoln, on the other hand, is willing to put the whole amount in. And as the Lincoln taxpayer, I would like to give them a chance to see what they can do first. Instead of just put the whole amount in. It seems to make more sense. You can always have another meeting at the end of the quarter and say, they can't make it, and then do the amount. So
They do have some great fundraising ideas coming up.
I hope
The
so.
letters going to him, the letters going to you.
There's no incentive if you just give them the money.
Wow. Wow.
All right.
God forbid
Do you
people
have
ask
any
for help.
other questions or discussion you want to add?
No.
All right, then we have a motion to
Waive the 3/4.
waive
rent.
the final 3/4 full amount,
Right.
which would be 9,000 and change.
Yep.
All right, and I will second that. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Abstain.
you abstain. Anything else on yours? List?
Oh, I got a watch list here, yes, no. Oh, that's it, we've got everything, thank you.
All right, do you have anything?
I did, but it was addressed, thank you.
All right, and then the only other thing I have is that we had a settlement to the South Peak lawsuit. And we announced, we met in non-public and agreed to a solution. And we didn't want to announce it until everything was agreed upon and signed by both parties, but as of last week, the insurance company settled with South Peak. They paid $125,000. We paid nothing. The
Bless you.
lawsuit against the town has been fully dropped with no further action. And the lawsuit that the town filed against, and again, we call it South Peak, has been dropped with no further action. So
Always a good thing.
those two lawsuits are done. The insurance company settled what was originally a $3.7 million claim.
Yeah, 4
6
million.
3 million, 6 then to 3, and then
Was it six
I
at
think
first?
the
I think
original
it started at 6.
Okay.
started out at 6.
3.7 was what we started with the mediation.
And then I came on the board, we got it done.
We got it done
125.
There you go.
It was a long, painful process. It consumed an immense amount of time and energy.
7.5 hour.
Thank you for your participation in this.
How long was your deposition? Oh, you didn't have to take one, did you?
No, I didn't.
Darn it.
I'm not gonna say.
Gosh.
That was a lot of hours of research.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yes.
Invaluable
And-
research.
And that research is
Absolutely.
what helped
No question.
really with our case. I mean, that was.
Yeah,
That's great.
there's a lot of
absolutely.
stuff in there. So
Yeah, thank you.
thank you very much.
Too bad you couldn't have got it all before my deposition, but I'm just kidding.
So.
No comment.
Just kidding.
Yeah, but
It's done.
One final thing, I'd like to thank the town manager for the graph. I mean, I've used it in 2 or 3 conversations
I
already.
did
with people.
too. I did too,
Right.
yeah.
The only thing is I'm colorblind. But no,
Oh.
I'm kidding.
I was like, oh, I could do a
But- but
monochromatic one for you if you want.
Hilarious.
But I think that this is a good tool that the taxpayers should have, take advantage of, taking and seeing where the taxes come from, where they get going, who's paying the majority of the taxes and how the town benefits, but thank you. It
Great.
was
I got a
really-
couple other ideas for other ones too, so
It's
keep
really-
them in my back
Yeah.
pocket for when I need a shining star.
Yeah, absolutely.
the visual
It's huge.
Right.
is so
It's
much
huge.
easier to understand than someone talking about it. That was great. Thank you.
Yeah.
We would put it in the town report, we laminate it, put it on the door, because,
Stick it on the website.
we had a conservative community who wanted to know where their tax dollars were going and how the tax rate was going up and down and,
Just explain it right there.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, we have a lot of procedural stuff here to vote on and do, but I'll put that on hold and we'll went to
I'll take that packet.
public participation first, if anybody has anything. Paul?
Yeah, thank you. I have a couple things. You mentioned that the town didn't cost any money for the settlement of South Peak. Can you tell me what the legal fees were? Did the town have to spend money in legal fees for the South Peak?
Good
Lawsuit?
question.
Not
Yes,
many.
well, the insurance company paid for the attorney's fees related to the lawsuit against the town. The town paid the attorney's fees for our suit, again, our counter suit against South Peak. However, we used the same attorney, so there was no money spent catching that attorney up on what was going on and the background and the history, and he came, when we hired him, he was fully knowledgeable about what was going on,
Right.
was behind it. We did have some fees with Peter Malia on the town's lawsuit against South Peak, as well as Morris and Mahoney, who the
Oh, right.
insurance company paid for,
Yeah.
but again, we had some with that attorney.
Do you have any idea, just a ballpark of what it was?
We can figure that out.
Yeah, we can
At
figure it
this
out.
point, I don't even know if we've paid the final bills.
We
to Morris
haven't.
and
No.
Mahoney,
He
no.
sent an email
Yeah.
either this morning or on Friday that said we should have all that final documentation, including the final invoice wrapped up this week, so.
So we may have that number for
We
you
might
next
have
week.
it for
Yeah.
next week.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to know that. The only other comment I have is on West Street. You had the 486,000. Now, is there still a lawsuit pending for this, for West Street?
Correct.
And if so, if the town is successful in getting any money from that lawsuit, will it be able to be put back into the CIP? Or the water and sewer tap fee fund if the town's successful in obtaining any monies from the lawsuit?
That could only be done at town meeting, so essentially if we get that, if we get that settlement and say it's $100,000 for easy math, it essentially just goes into our revenue and into undesignated fund balance at town meeting next year. That money could then be appropriated through that mechanism of, whatever we got, say that $100,000 could then be put back in from the undesignated fund balance, but it can only be done at town meeting.
So how much is the town looking to try and get from this lawsuit? Is there a total amount? Do you have that? Do you know what that is? Or you can't say?
Well, there's been different amounts discussed at mediation, but
Right.
we're not even close because he's looking he's suing the town.
I understand that.
Okay, and he's looking for big bucks for us to pay him. So it could be us paying him paying us, or no one paying either.
Right.
All right. And would it be possible, you said you had a sheet that shows whereabouts in the capital reserve funds that you were going to take these accounts from. Would it be possible to get those sent to the CIP committee? I think Jack's on it, I'm on it, and I think it was
Jimmy Spanos?
Jimmy Spanos. Yeah, so at least next year they would have that information ahead of time to see
Yeah.
where it was.
Got that?
Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, that's all I had. Thank you.
Okay,
Do you just say it's just Jack, Paul and Jim?
Yes.
Carol's on it. I mean, she's, and
She's like the clerk to it.
yeah, I don't know if she votes, but.
No.
I mean.
So only just three members?
Yeah.
Actually, it probably should be sent to Carol and should be sent to Jonna as well.
Jonna,
Jonna's the one that makes, yeah.
Yeah, John has already seen it.
right.
Yeah. So Jonna would be, I would think would be a good one to send it to as well.
Yeah, she's got a copy of it already.
Thank you.
All right, any other public comment, participation? Do we have any need to go into non-public?
I don't have one at this time.
And so what is all there? Is anything that need to be voted on?
Oh, yeah, there
Yeah.
is, sorry. There's a few different things here. Did you,
Yeah, this is Bill's.
all right, where was the abatement? Oh, it's just in a different
Yeah.
order. I was thinking, I thought we were missing this because this was on the front. Let's do this first. There's an abatement request, and this was an error in the reval for the New Jefferson Holding, the large parcel of land that was assessed at $809,000, and it's supposed to be,
2 million
2 million something.
change.
So we're gonna, I'll make a motion to abate the amount paid on the previous assessment of $809,100. And then, of course, there'll be rebuild for the
Yeah.
for
I
the
think
$2 million.
I think the bill's
Gotcha.
on the next page.
I'll
Yeah, it
second,
is.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, $21,000.
Yeah.
All right, this is the tax collector's warrant. It's directing her to collect taxes for $5,910. Oh, and that's the
That's the
difference.
difference, yes,
This is adding
Yep.
that mistake back on.
correct.
And the reason it's only 5,900 is because they already paid 15.7 of that, so.
From the first bill.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the amendment to the tax collector's warrant for an additional $5,910.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. These are just disbursements. So we have 3 sets of disbursements for. One is the regular bills this week. This is the capital expenditures for the first quarter. And then these are what we didn't do last week.
Correct.
Oh, actually, this 3/22, March 22nd, March 28th, this week, and then the capital items of the first quarter. We don't need to make any motions, but we can certainly look at them, which I'm gonna breeze through them all. Is there anything else in this folder? Oh,
That was the article that you sent us, Ron, about the Sinai
Oh, yeah, it
The
was
court
in
decision.
NHMA and their recommendation was
Talks about-
highlighted.
adopting an RSA as the
Before we
definition.
Go too far off that, April,
30th,
I thought we said it was the
what was the date?
20, was the 15th?
I forget.
I think the original was the
Yeah,
15th, but I think we pushed it out to maybe the 22nd, maybe?
No, because I'm not here.
I forget what date we set.
I know we sent the day, I
It's an
haven't,
April date.
should I have, should we reach out to
Let's ask
Jason
Jason to reach out to Bruce,
and say, have you settled on a date for us?
settle on a date.
Okay.
And have they discussed the issue of the collapsed buildings?
I haven't been involved in any conversation to specifics as to what's on the buildings or what's on the properties.
Okay. Well, let's have them set a date.
Okay.
When are you not here?
I'm gone the 20th through the 1st,
Oh, wow, okay.
4/20 through May 1.
So let's try to do it before the 20th or.
I think we said the 15th. I think we said it had to be done by April 15th.
I think we did too. I don't know why I don't have it in my calendar at all.
Were you just waiting for a response back from the party?
No, we sent a letter saying, we sent a letter saying, a
Right.
certified letter
Yeah.
saying, we've agreed to meet in April, that we have to meet by, I think, are you sure you're leaving on the 20th? Because I thought we said you have to meet by April 20th. So maybe,
Leaving in the morning on the 20th.
all right. We'll check today. We said it, we had to meet someday in the middle of April. And then we gave him the same timeline that was in the first, that he had 6 months, I think it was, yeah, till August. It was a date in August. And then after that date in August, he'll start accruing
fines.
the $50 fee fine.
All right, let's have
Jason,
Jason
pop back
follow up
into
on that
Bruce. Yeah.
with his attorney. All right, is there anything else? I'm gonna look through these, but we don't need any
Once
more
we're done signing, we're done.
discuss,
Yeah.
so.
Can you hand me a set of them?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.